Assalamu alaikum.
Uncle,
Walaikum assalam. How are you?
fine. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine too. Okay, so let us start our class. Okay, so today is our last class related to your assignment, and today we will be discussing task number 7. Okay, so objectives of today's class is of course the same. You will be able to understand how to prepare assignment on the mentioned topic. And again, you can see I have used red font for a word, and I have used it for the next few words also. So these are command verbs, and while preparing your task, you have to use these words in the same context that I will explain you. Okay, so the first word in this slide is prepare. I have told you the meaning of almost all of these command verbs in the previous lecture also, but let us revise them again. Prepare means make something or someone ready to use. Okay. So from business point of view, it means make something or someone ready to use. Now with our task number 7. The exact wording of task number 7 is you need to evaluate the research outcomes in a written report. In the report, you must write an evaluation of the findings of the research and the process used, and a review of your own learning and development from research. Okay, so beta, this is report. You have to follow the exact pattern of report. Okay, there is a proper formal pattern of report writing. You have to follow that. So let us first understand the meaning of the command verbs, and then I'll explain you what does the task number 7 exactly says. First word is evaluate. Evaluate means examine strengths and weaknesses, arguments for and against, or similarities and differences. Judge the evidence from the different perspectives and make a valid conclusion or reason. Okay, so evaluate actually means you need to examine the basic points like weakness or strength, like favor or against, like similarities or differences of your report, of your findings. In the report, you must write. Okay, so what is meant by report? Report means give a spoken or written account of something that has been observed, heard, done, or investigated. Okay, so you have to give a written account of something or a spoken account of something that has been observed, heard, done, or investigated. So here in task number 7, you will give a written account of your findings. Next word that is used is review. So what is meant by review? Review means revisit and analyze in detail the positive and negative aspects. You have analyzed your findings in task number 6, most probably 5 or 6. So in task number 7, you are going to review your findings. Means you will revisit and analyze again. Okay, so review means revisit and analyze in detail the positive and negative aspects. Okay, so now what is task number 7? Task number 7 states that you need to evaluate the research outcomes or research findings in a written report. Okay, in task number 5 or 6, you have analyzed your finding, you have analyzed your research, and you keep on stated your findings in the form of recommendations, conclusions, data analysis method, and all these things. Okay, in now task number 7, you have to prepare a report. You have to prepare a report on two basic things: evaluation of the findings of the research and process used, and a review of your own learning and development from the research. What you have learned from your research, what you have analyzed, what are the positive perspectives of your research, and what are the negative uh, angles of your research. Okay, so you will add a review of your research at the end of report. You are going to analyze your own research. So in task number 7, you will prepare a report, and the report will consist of two parts. First will be evaluation of the finding and the process used, and second part will comprise the review of your own learning and development. Writing a detailed Word document for evaluating research findings and reflecting on your own learning and development requires careful consideration and organization. Of course, whenever you are analyzing your own research or you are going to write the review of your analyzed research, analyzed finding, then you have to be very careful regarding the considerations and regarding the positive and negative aspects of your findings as well. Okay, so what is meant by research? Research means conduct a detailed study of a subject to discover new information or reach a new understanding. Okay, this is what you have done actually. You have conducted a detailed study of your subject and discovered some new information. Title and introduction. It will be your first heading. Start your document with a clear and concise title that reflects the purpose of the report. Okay, before title, you have to write your introduction as well, your name, the topic of the task. No, not the topic of the task, your name, roll number, and the subject name. Okay, and in the second page, you will start writing title and then introduction. In the introduction, provide a brief overview of the research you conducted, including the objectives, methodology, and any relevant background information. For example, here you can write a literature review in 2 to 3 lines only. Okay. So in introduction part, you will provide a brief overview of the research topic, what kind of research you have done, which method you adopted to carry out your research, what was your aim, what was your objective, what you actually wanted to do, and the literature review related to that topic. Okay. Now, what is meant by provide? Provide means identify and give relevant and detailed information in relation to the subject. So, provide means identify and give relevant and detailed information in relation to the subject. After title and introduction, the second heading would be research findings. Okay. Present an evaluation of the findings of your research. Break this section down into subsections if necessary, based on the main themes or categories of your research. Include the following elements. Now let us see what are the elements. Summary of the findings, analysis and interpretation, strengths and limitation, comparisons to comparison to existing literature. Okay, so this is basically evaluation or analysis of your research. You are going to compare your findings with already present literature review, or you are going to evaluate that what you have understood from your research. Let us see what is the meaning of present before. Show for others to consider, formally deliver. Okay, present means show for others to consider or formally deliver. So you are going to formally deliver the evaluation of findings of your research. If it is required, then you can break down this topic research findings into further subsections if it is required. Otherwise, the main themes or the main points would be summary of the findings, analysis and interpretation, strengths and limitation, and comparison to the existing literature. First is summary of the findings. Begin by summarizing the key findings of your research. Highlight the main results or trends that emerged from your data analysis. Okay, so in first point, you will summarize the outcomes of your finding or outcomes of your research. What is the main result? You will highlight those lines as well. Okay, a result of data analysis. First, you have carried out your research. You come to the point that is outcome or finding. Then you analyzed your research and after that you are going to write a report. So you have to summarize the finding of the research as well as the analysis of your research. Okay, the findings of research as well as the findings of data analysis, you have to write them both in this part. Analysis and interpretation. Dive deeper into each finding and provide a detailed analysis. Explain the significance of each finding and its implications within the context of your research question or problem statement. Support your analysis with the relevant data, statistics, or quotes from the participants if applicable. Okay, so what is meant by explain? Explain means make something clear to someone by describing or revealing the relevant information in more detail. Okay, make something clear to someone by describing or revealing relevant information in more detail. Sorry. Then last word is analysis. Analysis is derived from the word analyze, and it means break the subject or complex situations into separate parts and examine each part in detail. Identify the main issue and show how the main ideas are related to practice and why they are important. A reference to current research or theory may support the analysis. Okay, so analysis means break the subject or complex situations into separate parts and then examine each part separately. So in second heading, you will go in detail of each finding. For example, you have got 3 findings out of your research work. The first finding is that in comparison to males, more females are doing remote job. Your second finding is that housewives are feeling more challenges as compared to the bachelor girls or unmarried girls. And your third finding is literate or educated, well-educated housewives are facing less challenges as compared to the less educated housewives. Okay, so you have sorted out 3 findings out of your research. Okay, and the nature of all these 3 findings are different from each other. Now you will explain each of these 3 findings one by one. You will go into the detail. For example, in first one, you will go into the detail that why less number of males are doing remote jobs as compared to the female. In second point, you will explain that why housewives are facing more challenges as compared to the unmarried girls. And in third point, you will analyze, you will explain, you will dig deeper into the fact that why educated women, educated housewives are facing less challenges as compared to the uneducated housewives. Okay, so in analysis and interpretation part of research findings, you will go into the detail of each finding separately. Okay, each research question, each finding separately, and then you will support your finding with the relevant data. For example, if I talk about the first finding, that more number of females are doing remote jobs as compared to the male. Why? Then your finding should be that because males are already doing physical jobs, okay, office jobs, therefore they cannot get the time to do the remote job along with their physical job. Okay, because of the time management, because of unavailability of internet in their offices, and for many other reasons. Okay, so you will explain each finding, you will analyze that finding, and you will also support your analysis. Got it? Now the third point in research findings is strengths and limitations. Discuss the strengths and limitations of your research. Identify any potential biases, constraints, or areas where further research is needed. This demonstrates your awareness of the study's limitations and adds credibility to your evaluation. Okay, so let us see what is meant by discuss first. Okay, discuss means give a detailed account including a range of views or opinions, which includes contrasting perspectives. Okay, so discuss means give a detailed account including a range of views or opinions. Now, in this point, you have to discuss the strengths and limitations of your research. Means you have to explain that what are the positive points of your presentation, your research, and how strongly it stands in front of you. Okay, what are the positive aspects? What are the things that you have explained very good or professional manner? And what are the limitations? Okay, which are those points that actually need to be explained more, that can be explained more, but you have provided only a limited knowledge related to your research. Okay, you have to mention them by yourself. Identify any potential biases, constraints, or areas where further research is needed. Okay, so these are the limitations of your research. You have to point them out and you have to highlight that these are the points that can be explained further. This demonstrates your awareness of studies limitation and adds credibility to your evaluation. Okay, so this shows that you are actually familiar with evaluation process. You are not only able to do the research, but you are also able to evaluate the research findings of any person as well, along with your research. Comparison to existing literature. Compare your findings with existing literature and studies in your field. Identify similarities, differences, or gaps in knowledge that your research addresses. This shows the contribution of your research to the existing body of knowledge. Okay, what is meant by compare? Compare and contrast. Okay, compare means examine the subjects in detail, identify similarities and differences, consider these from different perspectives. Okay, compare means basically when we say compare or contrast, that actually we are evaluating two things or two perspectives at the same time. Okay, then is identify. Identify, ascertain the origin, nature, or definitive characteristics of. Identify means you are going to you are going to sort out the identity of something. Okay, you will ascertain the origin, nature, or definitive characteristics of something. So comparison to existing literature, in this point, you are going to compare your findings with the existing literature review related to the topic. You will sort out the similarities between the two, the differences or the gaps in knowledge that basically your research aims upon. And by this way, it shows that how you have contributed, how your research has contributed to the existing literature review related to the topic. Okay, so these are the 4 points that you will mention in your research finding heading. Summary of the findings, analysis and interpretation, strengths and limitations, and comparison to existing literature. Third is process evaluation. After research finding, you will explain the process evaluation. Okay, beta, up till now, if you have any difficulty, please ask me.
No, I don't have any difficulty.
Okay, all right, good. Evaluate the process you followed in conducting your research. Include the following aspects. Okay, so process evaluation means that you are going to explain the complete procedure, complete process of your research, how you arrange the resources, how you took grant from different organizations in case of surveys, how you prepared the questionnaire, and how difficult it was, how much challenges have you faced during the process. You will be explaining all these things in this part. Okay, so the main headings would be methodology, data collection and analysis, and challenges and solutions. So first one is methodology. Assess the suitability of the research methodology you choose. Discuss the appropriateness of the data collection method, sample size, research design, and any ethical considerations. So let us see what is meant by assess first. Okay, so assess means use available information to make a judgment, produce a convincing argument for this judgment. Okay, use available information to make a judgment, produce a convincing argument for the judgment. Assess the suitability of the research methodology you choose. you will explain that why have you selected qualitative research method, why it is suitable for your topic. Okay, you will explain this. Why you this method suited your research, because you are not going to analyze the numbers, figures, or tables. Basically, you are going to provide information to some topic. So that is why you have selected qualitative research method. Discuss the appropriateness of data collection method, sample size, research design, and any ethical consideration. So you will discuss that if ethical considerations were involved, whether the human beings were involved, and you need to keep their identity confidential, or if human beings were involved, what was your sample size, which method you have used to for data collection. Okay, questionnaire, survey, interviews, social media. What are the different data collection methods that you have used? So you are going to explain each part of the methodology over here, your selected methodology. Data collection and analysis. Evaluate the effectiveness of your data collection techniques and discuss the strengths and weaknesses of your chosen approach. For example, surveys, interviews, experiments, and the data analysis method employed. For example, qualitative, quantitative, or mixed method. Okay, so let us see what is meant by evaluate. I think I have told you earlier the meaning of evaluate in this class. Examine strengths and weaknesses, arguments for and against, and similarities and differences. Judge the evidence from the different perspectives and make a valid conclusion or reason. Okay, so you are going to evaluate, you are going to examine each perspective of the data correction techniques or your research. Okay, now that perspective would be positive or negative, similarity or difference, favor or against, weakness or strength. You have to examine each perspective of your data collection techniques. Discuss the strengths and weaknesses and the data analysis methods employed. Okay, so again, you are going to explain the data collection methods and the data analysis method as well. Now the last point is challenges and solution. Identify any challenges or obstacles you encountered during the research process and explain how you addressed them. This showcases your problem solving skills and resilience in overcoming difficulties. Okay, identify. Identify means ascertain the origin, nature, or definitive characteristics of something. Okay, you are going to ascertain the origin, nature, and the definitive characteristics of something. Explain. Explain means make something clear to or someone by describing or revealing the relevant information in more detail. Okay, explain means to make something clear to someone by describing or revealing the relevant information in more detail. So in challenges and solutions part, you will explain that what kind of challenges you face during the complete process. For example, during the process of taking grant from various organizations, you had to wait for many days due to unavailability of the chairpersons of that organization or the bosses of that organization. And you can also explain other challenges if you have faced some. And also you will explain that how you cope up with the situation. So this will show that how important, how strong your problem solving skills are, and how much resilient you are in overcoming the difficulties. Now, the fourth point is learning and development. And in this point, you will explain skills required, personal growths, and area of for improvement. Learning and development. Reflect on your own learning and development throughout the research process. Include the following elements. The first, okay, now in this point, basically, you will explain that what you have learned, how much have you grown, how much have you developed, and how your skills have basically polished due to the as a result of this research. Skills required. Discuss the new skills or knowledge you gained as a result of conducting the research. This could include research design, data analysis, critical thinking, or any specific domain related skills. Okay, now, Beta, when you are doing or conducting some research, you know very well that when you are going to do something, when you are doing something, you are going through a phase or process, either ways, you will learn something, whether you will carry out a successful research or not. In either cases, you will learn something. Okay, there is always learning at the end of every process. So, after this process, you will come to know about your internal skills. You will come to know about what kind of other methods could be adopted to carry out a successful research, and how the processes can be shortened, how the processes can be more precise or more accurate, how you will be able to make them more accurate. Okay, so a number of skills basically you will learn at the end of your research. You will come to know that how to prepare questionnaire. You will come to know that how you can do survey in any organization, what are the different protocols that you have to follow while doing a survey, and how to take the grant or permit from the organization. Okay, so of course, at the end, you will learn a lot. So you will state all of these skills, all of the learning that you have adopted during the research, you will state them in here, skills required. Personal growth. Reflect on how the research experience impacted your personal growth. Consider the challenges you faced, the lessons you learned, and any changes in your mindset or perspectives. Of course, when you are learning something at the end of the process, so basically you have grown. Okay, you have grown uh, in various from various aspects, like you have grown from knowledge point of view, from skills point of view, and from confidence point of view. You have gained more confidence at the end than before. Okay, so all of these things will be reflected in your personality after conducting a successful result. Now let us see what is meant by reflect and consider. Okay, reflect means consult with oneself or others, recognizing implications of current practice with a view to changing future practice. Okay, reflect means consult with oneself or others, recognizing implications of current practice with a view to change the future practice. Okay, so it means that you will take yourself as an example. You will recognize that what implications of current process have brought about changes in your personality, and how will you act in future, or how will you respond to these things, these processes in future. Okay, because now you have personally gone through a process, you have got experience, so the things will be different in the future. Consider, ponder, contemplate, or study in order to make the decision. Okay, consider means study in order to make a decision, or ponder in order to make a decision. Okay, so in personal growth, you will explain that how you have how to which extent you have grown as a result of your research or the process. What challenges have you faced? How you cope up with that challenges, or how much strong are you from the perspective of your mind or knowledge that you have faced every challenge successfully. Areas for improvement. Identify areas where you believe you could improve as a researcher. This demonstrates self-awareness and a commitment to ongoing learning and development. Okay, so in this part, you will state that which are the areas that are weaker, and you think as a researcher, you think that they should be improved in order to facilitate the new researchers, in order to make the process easier for the new researchers. Okay, you will explain them. For example, if I would be at your place, I should say that there should be separate areas of research with regard to the separate fields. For example, if someone is doing research in the field of in the area of business, and some other person is doing research in the field of medicine, then all the resources, the websites, the books, the journals, they should be subdivided in separate sections. And I mean, separate section means research section should be kept separate as compared to the context section. Okay, context section. Sorry, so that researcher it become easier for researchers to just pick up the book of their choice and start reading, because they will know that this is only the research book. All kind of research material is present in this book, all kind of literature review will be present in these books or this section, and they will not strive harder to search every book present in the library in the business department, or every book present in the library in the medicine department. Okay, so the books that are having the practical research from the history should be kept aside from the other books. Demonstrates. Let us see what is meant by demonstrate. Demonstrate means clearly show by giving proof or evidence, give a practical exhibition and explanation. Okay, so demonstrate means clearly show by giving the proof. Then fifth point is conclusion and recommendations, and the last point will be references and appendices. Summarize the main points discussed in the report, including the key findings, process evaluation, and your learning and development. Okay, let us see what is meant by summarize. Give the main ideas or facts in a concise way. Okay, so you will just pick up the main point and you will write it down in the concise manner, precise manner. Summarize the main points discussed in the report, including the key findings, process evaluation, and your learning and development. Conclude by providing recommendations for future research in the field based on the insights gained from your own research. Okay, so you will summarize all the main points that you have discussed in your report, and if it is required, then you can add recommendations. You will add the name of other books or resources, websites, journals, etc. for future consultation by for new researchers. Okay. Last is references and appendices. Include a list of references to acknowledge the sources you have used throughout your report. Follow a specific citation style, that is Harvard style, and ensure the accuracy and consistency of your citation. Okay, so you will add the references at the end of your report in Harvard style. And if it is required, then you can add appendices, but otherwise references would be good enough. If you have any additional supporting material such as interview transcript, survey questionnaires, or charts, graphs, include them in the appendices section. Remember to proofread your document for grammar, spelling, and clarity before finalizing it. By following this comprehensive structure and addressing each component thoroughly, you can create a detailed Word document that effectively evaluates the research findings and reflects on your learning and development from the research process. Okay, so this is very important part. Whenever you are going to submit your research work or your report or any official document, you should review your document before submitting. Check for any grammar mistake, spelling mistake, and don't forget to proofread your document. Okay, so Mita, this is all about your task number 7. Let us have a brief review of task number 7. You have to write a report stating the evaluation of findings of your research and the process used, and a review of your own learning and development from the research. You have to start writing by in the format of a report. The first heading after your name and your introduction will be the title, introduction, research findings, process evaluation, learning and development, conclusion and recommendations, references and appendices. Okay, so if you have any question, do ask me, please.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, all right. So can you tell me that a common observation that you have found from your research? A common observation or a common challenge that you have seen that almost every other woman is facing. Can you please tell me that?
So they face, so they face, you know, like, like challenges from their family.
From their family, okay.
Yes, that is like the most common like
Com
challenge that they face.
okay, all right. That's a new thing for me that family is also making hurdles in them
Yeah,
in their way.
exactly.
Okay, all right. So, better this was all about your business research um, subject or task, you can say. So, I will be inshallah checking your tasks and then I'll send the feedback. Meanwhile, during writing new tasks, if you face any difficulty, do ask me freely. Okay.
All right, sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Allah Hafiz. Take care.
Love you.